Welcome to Growth Without Referrals, where we talk with real operators about how they're actually generating new business. Not theory, not fluff, but how it works. And today I'm joined by Bill Wolf. He's the founder of Bill Wolf Media. And Bill helps home service businesses get found online and grow without the usual agency nonsense. And Bill, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Mark.
Excellent. And so, for those who don't know you, what is Bill Wolf Media and who do you serve?
So, Bill Wolf Media is a home services marketing and operations consulting agency that, like you mentioned, I help home service businesses in industries like HVAC, home remodeling, roofing, and really any other local company that delivers services to people's homes. I help them grow. A lot of times, I talk to I talk to company owners and they're in a cycle of just not getting enough leads or they don't know how to manage them. And that's why that's my whole purpose to help them get unstuck and grow their revenue beyond 5 and 6 figures.
Excellent. And Bill, you're not the typical agency guy, right? You've been in the trenches. What led you to build Bill Wolf Media?
So I have an interesting background. I am not a classically trained marketer. I started in the software industry. My first love as a career was as a developer, which led me through web development, creating websites, basically making stuff that helped businesses run better, just not make leads, or just not generate leads. So I worked in software support after being a developer for a few years, for about 15 years. So I honed my customer service skills, organization, and really started getting into CRMs. And the whole way during my 20-year career, I've been doing freelance work off and on. Somebody would just call me, hey, I need a website. Okay, you got it. And it was 2019. I was thinking about the direction of my business, and I said, I really need to help these people grow instead of just giving them a website, which is what led me into my path of offering local SEO services and branching out into print and paid media. And now I have a local marketing agency because I've learned all of these different tactics that play off of each other. So I've basically built a foundational framework for how to grow a home services business, and whatever budget somebody comes to me with, I do my best to identify their biggest problem and solve it with that budget. And anything that's left over, we building blocks. We just adding on, uh, keep adding on work to make their business get where it needs to be.
Great, great. And what was the hardest early lesson that you experienced?
The hardest early lesson is that not everybody is suited to run a business. And I'm not saying that to be mean, but I provide a lot of direction. I'm a partner. So
Hmm.
when somebody comes to me for help, it doesn't matter how much money they pay me. I need to be able to speak with them, get their input, get photos, descriptions of jobs, what was going on that week so that we can talk about it on their web pages, social media. When we upload photos, we tag them with descriptions of jobs and where they were so that they show up in search results. And we don't just put those on Google. We blast them out to 30 different directories to help them get found. So that's what I've found to be, the biggest lesson is that when I'm thinking about working with a client, or a client's thinking about working with me, they're feeling me out to see if they're a good fit or I'm a good fit, but I'm also feeling out them out to see if they can actually ask their customers for reviews, if they'll send photos, if they're going to look at website copy, designs, finished pages, and say, good to go, Bill, because without that, I don't want to say I'm guessing. We do recorded interviews and make like a knowledge base for all of our clients, but without that feedback loop, we don't have great success. But when I have a client that is responsive and stays on top of these items, I haven't had a failure in 3 years with those guys. So that's basically where I'm at. Is if you're following my methodologies and my systems, you're gonna do good.
That's great. And Bill, I want to get real specific, an example. So let's say a plumbing or HVAC company came to you today with inconsistent leads. Where would you start?
I would start by looking at their Google business profile and seeing if they even have one. Because if they don't have a profile, you can't get reviews on a profile that doesn't exist. You're just not eligible to get those calls, and there are a ton of searches for local businesses. And what's cool about Google business profiles is it's kind of it's location based. So no matter where you're located, if you have a Google business profile, you are 10 times more likely to show up in your local neighborhood, wherever your business address is, than anyone else, because you are in that location. Even if you're a service business and you travel to their homes, like you're basically locked into that spot. The other thing is word of mouth, and
Mhm.
people get the idea that word of mouth is just you did work for somebody and they're going to tell their friends. You have to call people. You have to have relationships in your local
Yeah.
communities, and you have to talk to people. You can't just say, okay, I'm in business, I have a Google profile, I'm getting leads. Start calling people and saying, hey, how you been? It's been a while since we chat. How you doing? How are the kids? It always leads into, what are you doing these days? And you can call old
Mhm.
colleagues, family, friends, your roommate from college, and just have a conversation with them, because it's always going to lead into, what are you doing? And then you get to say, do you know anybody who might need help with something like that? And then you get to say, oh, I did work for you a couple years ago. Would you mind leaving me a review on Google? I can send you the link. Most people who are close to you are not going to say no. And that
Right.
drives rankings. So instead of having like your little corner of the internet in your local neighborhood, you start getting those reviews consistently. You start showing up in searches outside of your neighborhood, which is when things get really interesting typically.
Okay. And you've seen a lot of service businesses, right? What are the service businesses getting wrong right now?
When it comes, I'm going to give you two answers again. So there's handling their marketing and doing it the right way, doing the right things, and then there's uh, excuse me, then there's how they're handling their operations. So
Mm.
by that I mean, one, answering their phone when it rings, because if somebody calls you and they don't know you and they don't really already want to work with you necessarily, they're probably going to call the next guy in line. Uh, the second is setting up a professional voicemail. It doesn't have to be cold and corporate. It can be you talking to them, Uh, it's actually funny. I called a prospect uh, who responded to my one of my Facebook ads. He it went to voicemail, but it was the best introduction to his company. I could have like I've never heard a home service business say, "Hi, the this is Guy's Tree Service, and we've been solving tree service issues in this area for 20 years. We have a 100% service guarantee, and we would love to give you a call back and help you out the best we can." Literally, the absolute best home service voicemail I've ever heard. And I told him that on the voicemail. I'm like, that's amazing. Keep doing that. But then I called him. He was like, "Hello? The, you're a business. Say your business name and who you are, and ask how you can help." I mean, that's how I answer my personal phone. "Hello?"
Sure. So let's get specific. What's actually moving the needle right now for local businesses?
There,
Two to three.
there are a few plays that I really like. Obviously, Google business profiles, online directories, and reviews because they drive rankings. It's called local SEO. And then you throw a website on top of it that answers questions somebody would ask about your business and showing that you actually solve whatever pain that they're having. Uh, if you do that and a couple other uh, minor PR items, you're going to be leaps and bounds ahead of 90% of the other businesses in the same industry in your local area. And it drives calls. The other one is print. So yard signs, business cards. Uh, I hooked a guy up instead of paying $1,200 for a wrap on his truck. I got him these magnets. They were like $150. They're like 2 feet wide. Die cut, slap it on the driver's side door. You don't even have to leave it on there in traffic. Just show up at their house with your name and logo on your truck, and then you have people in the local neighborhood Googling your name, which helps drive search traffic.
Mm. Oh, that's great. So, Bill, you create short form content. And how has that impacted your own growth?
Yeah, so people see it, even if they don't like it, or comment, or share it. And by like, I mean react to it on the social media platform. Uh, Obviously, some people do like it because they tell me, "Hey, I saw that video. I
Mm.
liked what you said there." I actually turned one of them into an ad, and it was just me talking about word of mouth and how it's a great place to start, and you should absolutely do it, and you should be calling people because you're basically throwing money away. Like if you're not making money and you're not calling the people you know, are you in business? Uh, but anyways, I turned that into a meta ad for Facebook and Instagram, literally getting a lead, a good lead every other day. And I call these prospects and they say they're having a conversation with me. They're like, "Wow, you're a real person." Like I'm supposed to, they filled out this form online saying they wanted their business to grow, and I'm here asking them questions about what it is that they do, who, like what their ideal customer is, uh, how things are going, what they're doing to, or what they did to get where they are, if they got anywhere. And they're like, it's so refreshing to them because there are so many companies out there, big companies, where they just have somebody from uh, not America calling them every single day saying, "Hey, you should buy such and such company's local SEO package. It's $300 a month, and we'll do this and this and this, and top three rankings on Google." And it's like, how do you even know they need top three rankings on Google? Maybe they don't need more leads. Like, how are you? How are you as a business owner calling somebody or having somebody call another business owner and say, hey, buy our stuff without even knowing if they need it. It doesn't make sense.
So true. So, Bill, we're going to switch it up. I'm going to throw out some common marketing beliefs, and I want you to tell me if they're myth or truth and why. Okay. So, the first one is SEO is dead.
Oh, that's a myth. People have been saying SEO is dead for every year for the last 20 years.
Okay. You need paid ads to grow.
You can, I'm going to say myth, but it's not entirely a myth.
Okay.
It's somewhere that I like to go after you build up your organic presence because the ads feed into the organic. So that's why I like to set up those foundational items so that the ads have the best impact.
Okay. The next one. Word of mouth is enough.
That's a myth most of the time. I mean, like I said, if you're just starting out, you're not making any money. You might as well start calling people. But
Hmm.
uh, I actually had a client. He was in business for almost 20 years. He was making $1 million a year in revenue at one point, and I've been in touch with him the whole time. The whole time he was in business, I've known him and I've stayed in touch. And we were talking a couple years ago, and he's like, "All my word of mouth dried up. Nobody's even calling me. I'm not even going out and bidding on jobs. What happened?" And I'm like, "What are you doing to advertise? What people aren't just going to always be calling you day after day for you to do work for them if you're not doing anything to produce that outcome."
Yeah. Okay. Here's the next one. Social media is optional.
That's true. It's absolutely true because you don't have to do social media, and
Okay.
it's not even like a top three play for me. Um,
Okay.
is it a good thing to do? Absolutely. You get to reach a broader audience. You don't have to do it. Totally optional. And I do have clients where like I just don't want to be on social media. And it's like, okay, we don't have to put you on social media. Like as the owner of a company, you're responsible for sales and growth. So I'm an introvert. I prefer not to be talking to people all day long or videoing myself. But at the end of the day, I want my company to grow. So
Mm.
here I am having a conversation that's going to be distributed to a wide audience, and I'm doing it because it it works. If you have the capabilities, if you can do the
Sure.
editing and the captions and actually schedule out the posts, why not?
Okay. And here's the last one. You need a big agency to compete.
That is absolutely a myth. My agency is I have myself, a part-time employee who manages campaigns and does a little bit of uh, writing and design feedback here and there. I have a contractor for social media, a contractor for design, and a contractor who builds web pages. And I just kind of oversee. Uh, and we're getting great results for home service clients. So to say that you need a big agency, I actually have gotten clients from big agencies because they overpromise and underdeliver. A lot of times it's on price because they'll say, "Oh yes, we can do SEO for a few $100s a month," and they do a little bit of SEO, but they're not actually consulting that owner
Mm.
and helping them move forward from like the repetitive nature of recurring subscriptions with agencies. Like once a big agency signs you, a lot of times you are just getting the same things, the same deliverables over and over, month after month, without any attention to whether or not it's helping you grow or if they should be doing something else to help you.
Mm, okay. So can you share one example of a client who came in struggling and what changed?
So the one that I was telling you about with word of mouth, that was the biggest turnaround because he went from 1 million a year to zero. Uh, Another one, um, it was actually one of my first SEO clients that included a website build. So I definitely wasn't new to the space, and I knew what needed to be done. I had like the technical capabilities of it, uh, but I told them like you have an opportunity that there's absolutely search volume, which I have tools to research that, and I know how to target it. It's ultimately a gamble, or it was a gamble at the time because I was just using other people's tactics that they said worked. Uh, and this is how I learned what should be done and what shouldn't be done. And he's like, "Screw it, it's $12.50 a month. If it doesn't work in 9 months, I'll just do something else." And they stayed with me for several years. And uh, at one point, they stopped getting reviews, and I insisted, like, you have to keep getting reviews. If you don't do this, like, that's why the calls aren't coming in. They even changed their location, which triggered a drop in their rankings on Google. Change of address, change of name, any major change like that, like you get knocked down a little bit. And I'm like, you
Mm,
haven't gotten a review in 3 months since you changed this location. You have to do this. And he swore up and down after that that he should have just listened to me in the first place because he did. The company was doing, I want to say, about 2 million a year a couple years ago when they left me, and they went and, per my advice, rebranded and hired a GM. So now they're doing, uh, if I had to guess, way better. Uh, and they go on vacation all the time. Like they're taking month-long vacations, uh, and basically being consultants and going out and swinging a hammer at a roof whenever they feel like it.
hmm,
That's like
wow.
the biggest success story, hands down. Like it doesn't get better than that. He was easily doing six figures when he came to me, but he wanted to do better, and I said I will do it my absolute best, and then I did it for two of my friends who were actually my first local clients, and we just started with like directories and reviews. That was my proof of concept. Like if you do these things, you will do okay.
Hmm, excellent. So if you're talking to a home service business owner who feels stuck right now, what's the first step they should take this week?
Depends on what they're stuck on. You have to
I
identify the
like that.
problem before you solve it. So
I like that.
it, like I said, word of mouth is like if you need work right now, word of mouth. If you need uh, to get organized, like you're losing track of jobs, you're keeping track of everything in a giant spreadsheet with 1,000 names on it, and you're in chaos. Maybe we need to talk about having a CRM to keep track of all those things. I'm partnered with House Call Pro. Um, I always like to send people their way because the clients that I have that use it have always done very well for themselves with organization.
Okay. That's great, Bill. And so, Bill, where can people connect with you?
They can give me a call, 412-444-8219. They can visit my website at billwolfmedia.com. There's a contact form there if you just want to leave your info, and I can get back to you whenever it's convenient. And
Okay. And you,
you can also follow me on social media, Bill at Bill Wolf Media on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube.
excellent. Well, thanks again, Bill, for joining us on our show, Growth Without Referrals. This has been very insightful, great advice, and I encourage people to reach out and connect with Bill. But thanks again, Bill.
Thanks for having me, Mark. It was great talking to you.
Thanks. Bye bye.